So what are some strategies, someone that's watching today and they are just crying out for their son, crying out for their daughter, crying out for their spouse? What are some strategies and things that you've learned in your life that really work, that we can just have that authority and just see God operate and move, just see the kingdom come in the family like never before for this season?
Yeah, sometimes it's as easy as like if there's something coming up in your family, like I had a daughter that got married this year. And so my husband and I, we call them punch first strategies, like what would the enemy want to have happen at her wedding? What kinds of things would make the enemy happy if it went down at her wedding? Okay. Again, no new tricks. I can imagine the kinds of shenanigans he'd be up to amongst our other children or with guests or between my husband and I. My husband Todd and we talk a lot about marriage, and we know that if I'm going to talk about marriage tonight, what's the enemy want to do? He wants us to get in conflict because he definitely does not want us to feel like we have anything to offer anyone that night. So in advance of what we believe is an assignment God has for us, we say to each other, what's our punch first strategy today? What are we going to do preemptively to actually advance some ground and let the enemy know he doesn't actually have any authority in this relationship and he cannot come and impact us. And so when I think about husbands and wives and moms and dads interceding for their family, battling for their family, sometimes it's just taking a spirit of authority over your household and saying, what will I not let happen under this roof? What kind of conversation will I not let go on unchecked in this dinner table? Or and honestly, I mean, this is not in our Bibles. This is just like as practical as it gets. I was in like a battle of the wills with one of my kids the other day, and I wanted to win because I have flesh and I have sin and I have pride and I have all kinds of things going on at any given time. And I wanted to win, but that's actually a small W. But much bigger than that, my capital W is I want Jesus to be glorified in this house. I want my son to understand that I'm trying to put on display as very best as I can the nature and character of God in him. And I want him to catch what that nature and character is. So when I say it's not in our Bibles, big W's and small W's, we won't find a verse about that. But me making a decision that my identity as a child of God is more important than my fleshly desire to to be the boss of him and instead say, I want to put on display God's nature to you. So I'm going to humble myself right now. I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to be vulnerable and share where I'm struggling. I'm going to ask God for help in the middle of this conflict with you. I'm going to forgive you when it's easier to hold a grudge against you right now. Like, I'm going to decide that I'm going to live the way that God taught me to live. And as soon as I make the decision that those capital W wants are bigger than my little w wants, then God takes over. I mean, he wrote the book. He knows exactly how relationships are supposed to function. And when I decide I'm going to do things God's way, you do see victory. And it's because you're cooperating with the nature that God's impressed upon you instead of fighting it with your own sin.
Share about, you say at the close to the end of your book, as I grow in my understanding of spiritual warfare, I am learning it's more about confidence and hope. Boy, we need hope like never before. So can you explain?
Yeah, hope is, in English, hope is kind of an abstract word. It sounds like wish, but I like to study the original language. And throughout the book, I outline lots of Hebrew words and original meanings of verses that we hold on to. And for example, even Jeremiah 29:11, where it talks about a hope that we have, that word hope in Hebrew is tikva. And tikva, among its definition in Hebrew, literally means rope. It's like a cord. It's something that you hold on to. And when I think about hope, it's not some kind of abstract wish. It's something I literally hold on to. When I have a sister-in-law right now that's battling cancer, and I'm not sure what's going to happen. And instead of just closing my eyes like a genie god and asking him to grant me my 3 wishes, I'm holding on to the fact that he's sovereign. I'm holding on to the fact that he can heal. I'm holding on to the fact that he loves her. I'm holding on to the fact that he's with us. I'm holding on, and on it goes. That hope makes me feel very spiritually confident. Like I don't have to worry or wonder because I know God's in control. I know he's tapped me to participate in that battle. Psalm 144:1 says he trains our hands for war. I mean, he wants us to be in the middle of this battle. And while I'm fighting my own sin nature and an enemy who's coming against me, I can hold on to that hope like a rope. That tikva is there for me always.